लगाया बोलेगा ये भी लगाना पड़ेगा नमो तस्य भगवतो वरहतो सम्मा sambuddhassa. Good morning and welcome to another Sunday Discourse. On this wonderful day, we have all gathered together for the purpose of Dhamma. So today we will be doing puja and sharing the merits. There are some dana and dedications. First is by Mr. and Mrs. Advait Kulkarni, dedicated to Sangha on the occasion of birthday of Dr. Rujuta. So we wish Dr. Rujuta a very happy birthday, and may she be happy, healthy and peaceful and keep progressing on the path of Dhamma. And then there is Dana by our Upasaka Anish Bodh, dedicated to his sister Rafia because of her not so good health. So we wish her, may she have been the best of health, and may she also recover and be happy, healthy, peaceful. And then third dana is by Sayali Uppalavanna. She is a student from childhood in Mahabodhi, and now she has become a nun. She is presently studying in Myanmar, so it is her birthday. So she is also offering Sangadana. We wish Sayali Uppalavanna all the good health, peace of mind, and progress on the path of Dhamma, and may she also attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana soon. That's the three danas and dedications. And now we will start with the Buddha Dhamma Sangha Vandana and Parita chanting. So I request those who are online as well as offline to attend mindfully. शुरू करें अरहं सम्मा सम्बुद्धो भगवान् बुद्धं भगवन्तं अभिवादेमि स्वाखातो भगवता धम्मो धम्मं नमस्सामि सुपटिपन्नो भगवतो Sangham Namami. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Sambuddhassa Edebeta Bhagavaraham Sama Sambuddha Vejacharana Sampanna Sugado Lokavido सारथि साधानेव मनोसानां बुद्ध भगवति नमो दास सामा ये च स्वाखातो भगवता धम्मो सान्निधिको कालिको येहि पासिको पनयिको पाचातां वेदिता भवेन्यो वेदे नमो दासनियानिका सधमासा Supatipanna Ujjhagatipanna Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Nyayakatipanna Bhagavato Sangho Samikchi Patipanna Bhagavato Sanghan cha devedotamang Sangheyo kalidodoso Sangho kamadodang mamang Sangayavani bana pariyantang saranang Evang bodhang Dhammang sanghang cha vikavo Vayang vajang Lomahang sonahe sati Ghanasara padidena devena damodhang sena Delokadevang sambodhang pujayami tamanudang Gandha samharayotena dopena hang sugandhena pujaye Pujavajanamottamang Vannagandhaganabedhagetam kusumasantatin Pujayami munindasa siripada saroruhe Pujami buddhang kusumenanena punyena metena chahodomokhang Pupang Idame kaya tathaya devinasa bhavang Nirodha samapatido vadai dvanisena saveya Bhagavata arahato samma sambuddhassa Emena devena dopena popena pujemi 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 emang Baba Baba Jadi Nama Sakala Sambuddhanam Vacheka Buddhanam Agasavakanam Mahasavakanam Arahantanam Bhakati Selam Aham Pidesang Anubhatagami Emani Babani Vanena Pesuvanam Gandhena Pesugandham Santanena Pesu Santanam Kevameva Dobanam Dogandha Dosantanam Bhavanesati Evameva Sabbe Anicca Sabbe Sankhara Dukkha Sabbe Dhammaya Natati Emaya Dhammanudhamma Padipatiya Buddham Emaya Dhammanudhamma Padipatiya Dhammam Dam Saririkadhato Mahavadin Udarubam Sakalam Namo Tassa Vipati Padivaya Sabhavayam Vinasaya Sabarogam Vinasaya Bhavedehaya Kadayakam Sabalokam Hidathaya Vanamahe Samantha Chakavale Sutragachantu Devata Sadhamang Mudirajasa Gamakadang Dhamma Savanakalo Yang Vadanta Dhamma Savanakalo Yang Vadanta Dhamma Yang Vadanta Parita Savana Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Evaṃ me sutaṃ ekāṃ samayāṃ bhagavā sāvātiyaṃ viharati jetavāne yanātha pindikāsa ārāme athākho anyatara devata avekantaya ratiya avekantavana kevalakapam jetavanang obhasetva yena bhagavatenupasankami upasankami tva bhagavantang ekamantang vada bhagavantang gathaya achavasi bahudeva manut mangalani acintayong akankhamanasotanang drohe mangalamuttamang asevana chavalanang pandita nancha sevana puja cha pujaniyanang etang mangalamuttamang patiropadesavaso cha bhupe cha katapunyata atta etang mangalamuttamang bahusachancha sepancha vinayo cha susekito subhasita cha yavacha etang mangalamuttamang mata pito pathanang kotada rasa sangho anangkula chakamantaye tang mangalamuttamang danancha dhammacharya cha nyataka nancha sangho anavajani kamani tang mangalamuttamang arati virati papa Nirvana Cha Sanyamo Apa Etang Mangalamuttamang Dharavacha Nivado Cha Santute Cha Katanyuta Kalena Sammasavanang Tetang Mangalamuttamang Kante Cha Soba Cha Sada Samanana Cha Dasanang Kalena Dhamma Kalamuttamang Tapachavramacharya Chaya Riyasa Chanadasana Nibbana Sachikiriya Chayetang Amuttamang Utthasaloka-dhame Icitang Te Asokang Kalamuttamang Etadisanika Dvana Sapathama Parajita Sapata Sotinga Chanti Dangte Sang Mangalamuttamante Etena Sachavajena Sotite Mada Etena Sachavajena Sapaduka Venasado Etena Sachavajena Sababaya Venasado Etena Etena Sachavajena Hotu Te Jaya Mangalam Etena Chavachena Pantu Ratanakayam Sabedya Vivajanto Sabaroga Vinasado Mate Bhavatu Antarayo Sukhe Dehayuko Bhava Bhavatu Sabha Mangala Rakhantu Sabha Devata Sabha Buddhano Bhavena Sada Sothe Bhavantu Te Bhavatu Saraswati Bhavantu Te Bhavatu Sabha Mangala Rakhantu Sabha Devata Sabha Sangha Bhavena Bhavantu Te Nakataya Kabhudanang Bhava Nivarana Parveta Svanubhavena Hantu Devo Padave Deva Tucha Veda Yang nimitang avamangalancha ya chamana po saguna sasado papa kahodo subinang kanta buddhano bhavena vinasamento dhammano bhavena Sanghanubhavena vinasamento Akasatacha bhamatha deva Deka Vanyantang Vedva Chiran Rakhanto Sasanam Chiran Rakhanto Desanam Chiran Rakhanto Mang Parang Etavadachame Sampadang Punya Sampadang Sabbe Devaya Numodanto Sabbe Bodaya Numodanto Sabbe Sadaya Numodanto Sabba Sampati Sedeya Nibbana Sampati Sedeya Vedang Edang no nyatinang Sunyataya Edang no nyatinang Hodu sukhidahan Sunyataya Sabe vadavala patapache Kananchayang valang Arhantanancha dedenarakang Amisabaso Sabe Dhamma balapataya riya Chayang balang Dhamma chakasadejena rakang Amisabaso Sabe sangha valapata vimotana chayang valang sasana Sabaso kayena vacha Dena maya kadam Achayang kamame vante varipanya tathagata Kayena vacha cetena pamadena Kadang Achayang kamame dhammo sanditiko kaliko Kayena vacha cetena pamadena maya kadang Achayang kamame sangho punya ketang anutarang Emina punya kamena mame bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yavanibana patiya edang lamang asavakayang vang hotu sabadukang pamochadu nibbana sabachaya hotu sadhu 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 Once again, very happy and hearty welcome to this wonderful Sunday morning. It is indeed a great blessing if we can keep our mind with the Dhamma to know correctly, to know better, to know the truth. And when we know the truth, when we know the reality, we can be happy people. So, as the Supreme Buddha has explained again and again, our path starts with our refuge, the right refuge. If we don't have the refuge, it is like a ship without an anchor. It can be damaged or even be destroyed in a great storm. So, this refuge of the triple gem, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, the refuge, which means refuge in the supremely enlightened Buddha, who has discovered this Dhamma by himself, purified himself thoroughly by his extremely difficult and unimaginably long practice, who has attained to the Anuttara Samma Sambodhi, supremely unexcelled, supreme enlightenment by himself. He can guide people. That's why the Buddha is called Anuttara Purisa Dhammasarathi, the supreme guide of beings, of guide of all beings who wants to learn. And the Dhamma, which is the path leading to happiness at the present as well as happiness in future, and also happiness of liberation through the attainment of Nibbana, this Dhamma. And the Sangha, the noble persons who are disciples of the Supreme Buddha, who have practiced well, practiced correctly, rightly in the straight path, and have attained to the path and the fruit, who have attained to the Lokuttara, who have experienced the Nibbana by themselves, the Arya Pukkala, the noble individuals. When we take refuge in them, we direct our mind towards the highest goal. We direct our mind towards the goal of Nibbana, towards the goal of freedom from all suffering. And if we direct like this, then our journey begins. So, keeping this in mind, understanding with right perspective, understanding with right and having the right view, I request one and all to take Tisarana and Panchashila. I request Sajjana Bhanteji to administer Tisarana and Panchashila.
Kamami Kamitaban Sukino Bhavantu Aroga Diga Yuga Bhavantu. Shamhan vadami dhamvadita. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddham saranang gacchami, dhammang saranang gacchami, sangham saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi Buddham saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi dhammam saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi sangham saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi Buddham saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi dhammam saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi sangham saranang gacchami. Ti sarana gamanam paribonam, Panadi Bhata Viramani Sikkhabadam Samadhiyami. Adena Dana Viramani Sikkhabadam Samadhiyami. Kamesu Mechachara Viramani Sikkhabadam Samadhiyami. Musawada Viramani Sikkhabadam Samadhiyami. Surami Rayamacha Pamada Thana Viramani Sikkhabadam Samadhiyami. Saru 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 Disrani Nasa Pencha Silang Dhammang Sarugan Katwa Surakitan Katwa Marina Silang Sambadita. Okay, good morning, my dear brother and sister here, Upasaka and Upasika. It is time to meditate. Let's start with your meditation. Okay, sit comfortably. Close your eyes and your mouth normally. Chat and rest and out rest normally and mindfully. Keep your mind in rest and out rest, please. Try again and again to get mindfulness. Remembering spurious at the sum, Nasikiki Chaitam Tapatava, Nasikiki Chaitam Tapatava, Satya Cha, Sambhajano Cha, Avitabam, Nasikiki means Asasa Pasasa Thana, embrace and always please. We must keep our mind in this embrace and always please. We must try to get mindfulness. At the beginning times, we need to get mindfulness, apamada. Later on, samsana also become together with mindfulness because sati and samsanya are comes together, not separately. If there is sati, we can get samsanya also. Sati and samsanya are come together. So we need to try to get mindfulness. This is our duty. This is our job. This is our work. So everybody try and again to get mindfulness. Our mother's mindfulness is a very important thing in this meditation. If we do not gain mindfulness, if we do not get a mindfulness, we are not a meditator. We cannot say it, I meditator. If we get mindfulness, we are surely meditator. We can say, I meditator. So everybody trying again and again to get mindfulness. Abhamata, we can call satis, mindfulness, a very important things in this Buddha dispensation. So Buddha also says that Abhamato amatam patanti. In this Buddha time, Buddha also used in this Abhamata everywhere he stay, every before he meet. The Buddha always says that Abhamati na sambhadita. The last words of Buddhas also is Abhamata. Buddha said Abhamatina Sambhadita. Abhamatina Sambhaditati. So Abhamata is a very important thing. Mindfulness is a very important thing. US already knows in the matters eightfold path, As Pamala Sati is there, Sama Sati. If someone has Sama Sati, he can see right view. If he see right view at the time, he has Sama deity. If someone has Sama deity, he can touch right at the time. He can get Sama Sankapa right thoughts. When someone gives the right thoughts, he can do right effort at the time. He can gain Sama Vayama. If someone is Sama Vayama, he can gain again Sama Sati, rise mindfulness. If someone has Sama Sati, rise mindfulness, he can gain Sama Samadhi, right concentration. If someone has Sama deity, right concentration, he can gain right understanding. Right wisdom, he can gain to right wisdom. So mindfulness is a very important thing in this and our dispensation. That's why everybody trying again and again to get mindfulness. Apamadina karota, apamadina aramata, apamadina sampadita. He long time is over. Everybody be free from all kinds of suffering. Everybody be happy year in year after. May you attain Nibbana. May you attain Nibbana. May you attain Nibbana. Sadhu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Bhanteji, for teaching the meditation. That was very peaceful. Now it is time to listen listen to some Dhamma. Dhamma is the path to happiness, path to freedom. And that path was discovered by the Supreme Buddha inside his own heart. He didn't have a reference book. He didn't have anybody to guide him. He didn't have anybody to tell how to end the suffering. So he developed his mind for a very long time. And he understood all phenomena correctly, as it is according to reality. Yatha bhutam jnana. And when he freed his heart from all defilements, when he ended his suffering, he went on to teach others. So we must understand that now when we practice whatever dana, shila, bhavana, it has a connection with our mind. It has to do something with our own hearts. There are external actions, but these external actions are not the only thing. When the Supreme Buddha gave his first discourse, what we call the Dhamma Sutta, he said, if you seek your happiness, then you must understand certain basic things. He said, if you mindfully pursue the sense pleasures or any kind of negative emotion, self-mortification, you would not find it. You wouldn't be able to make an end of your suffering. This is a very important thing for our own investigation. When we experience, as we experience every day, through these six senses, we have this eye and the ear, nose, tongue, body, and the mind. We experience through these six senses. We experience sensory phenomena, visible thing, sound, smell, taste, touch sensation, or thoughts. by using our sense consciousness, eye consciousness, ear consciousness, like this. And this sensory phenomena, it can be pleasant or unpleasant or neutral. What does it do when we come in contact with such phenomena, sensory phenomena? It gives rise to feelings, pleasant, unpleasant, like this. Here, the Supreme Buddha said very clearly, if you are obsessed with the pleasant and obsessed with the unpleasant, seek the pleasant continuously, try to push away the unpleasant continuously, you wouldn't find a cessation of suffering. The suffering would not cease. This is very fundamental. The way things are perceived, all things are perceived in this world. When you are talking to people, you perceive how this person is. When you are not talking to people, you perceive how your mind is, what you are thinking. So every time we are perceiving. When we are in meditation, also we are perceiving. Our sanya is there. Our perception is there everywhere, except for the Nirodha Samapatti, Sanya Vedaita Nirodha. Except for that, that is for the Arahants. Except for that, we are perceiving. All the time we are perceiving. Even in higher meditative states, also we are perceiving the meditation object. So when we perceive, based on our perception, we make our view. And based on our view, we make our perception. The way we see the world, that way we perceive. And that way we perceive, again, we strengthen that view. It is like this. This one is good. This one is not good. This one is desirable. This one is undesirable. That is the way we perceive. So when we perceive like this, automatically our view is we should seek the ones which are pleasant. We should try to discard the ones which are unpleasant. That's how we try to do things. But then here the Buddha told us, you wouldn't be able to make an end of your suffering by doing like this. If you just chase the pleasant and unpleasant and get trapped by your liking and disliking, then you wouldn't be able to make an end of your suffering. So this is very fundamentally different from the view of the world, general view of the world. Buddha is telling us there is a middle path. And that middle path starts with discarding our liking and disliking. As long as we are obsessed with our liking and disliking, our middle path has not started. That's how he said, Ubha ante anupagamma. By discarding these two extremes, Majjhima Patipada, the middle path I have adopted and I have come to the final realization, liberation, freedom from suffering. But then, as I said, the view of the world is to chase the pleasant, try to push away the unpleasant. Because we think they are very separate things. We think they are very different from each other. They are far away from each other. We often think like this. The pleasant ones are far away from the unpleasant ones. This is the wrong view which the Buddha understood. The pleasant ones are just sitting next to the unpleasant ones. They are very close. They are like twin brothers. They are like the two sides of the same coin. If there is a poisonous snake and you try to catch that poisonous snake from the side of its head unmindfully, it bites you. It bites you, and that person may either have a lot of suffering or even may die if it is a very poisonous snake. What happens if that person tries to catch that poisonous snake from the side of its tail? Again, unmindfully, the snake turns back and bites that person. Again, in the same way, like the previous one, the person experiences great suffering or even death. So, this is like the head and the tail of the snake, poisonous snake of avijja. Pleasant and unpleasant is exactly like this. They are just there together. Our view is that they are far away from each other. And that view arises because we have not thoroughly investigated the Nama Rupa. We have not thoroughly investigated the feelings that arises, pleasant ones, unpleasant ones, in the body or in the mind, various types of feelings. We have not thoroughly investigated. Because of this lack of investigation, we have this view that they are just far away from each other. If they are far away from each other, then I can take this one, get rid of the other one. That's the way world perceives. So they get hold of, they grasp at the pleasant one, but it is like trying to catch the snake from the tail. The head is the unpleasant, it instantly bites. Tail is pleasant because snakes takes a second or two to turn around. That much is the pleasant experience. But then the biting comes. So chasing the pleasant experience is like trying to catch the poisonous snake unmindfully from the side of its tail. It takes a second or two, but then ultimately it bites. In innumerable places, the Lord Buddha has said these pleasant experiences through sensory phenomena, it gives little happiness and much suffering. He has said, repeated these words again and again and again in so many suttas, so many discourses. Little happiness and much suffering. So he was telling they are connected, very closely connected. They are not only giving happiness and not suffering. It's not like that. They are very closely connected. It's like that same snake, not two different snakes. So this is what we must investigate again and again through the investigation of our feelings that arises on this body or on this mind, whatever feelings that we may feel. When we investigate the unpleasant feeling, we can see this is an unpleasant feeling, not productive of happiness. But then, do we really have to dislike it? We dislike it because our mind seeks another pleasant feeling. Simple as that. The mind is stuck with pleasant, mind is stuck with unpleasant. Mind is stuck because there is a adhesive. That adhesive is what you call the craving, tanha, craving. That is the adhesive. If that adhesive is not there, mind doesn't get stuck. Whatever is experienced through sensory phenomena, mind doesn't get stuck. It doesn't like, it doesn't dislike. It knows. What does it know? This is because of this sticky craving, I get stuck everywhere. Whatever I experience through these senses, I get stuck. Then later on, I experience pleasant and unpleasant things, and ultimately, I experience dissatisfaction. This is fundamental. But then we don't know mind does get stuck. We don't know there is an adhesive in the mind. And then when you apply that adhesive in the same place, it becomes very strong. Then you can't separate from that object. That is our clinging. Craving, 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 then it takes the shape of a clinging. It doesn't get out, it doesn't want to get out of there. No matter how much you try, it still clings there. No, I would stay there. Even if it suffers, it cannot come out. Cannot come out. Because that adhesive or the gum has been applied too many times in the same place. Now it has become too strong, too difficult to pull it out, too difficult to detach it. And then it becomes your own prison, the prison in your heart. And what it is all happens because we do not understand the pleasant and unpleasant feelings as it thoroughly is. When we experience an unpleasant feeling, as I said, then we investigate it is unpleasant, it is productive of dissatisfaction. But then later on, when we experience a pleasant feeling, we experience this is a pleasant feeling, and mind wants to cling to it. Mind wishes, let it continue. Because of this attitude, because of this perception, because of this inclination, when the unpleasant is experienced, the revulsion is much more. The intention, the intensity with which mind wants to reject is much more. But if we could understand, if they are the different opposite sides of the same coin, so if we are holding one side on our palm, we are looking at the pleasant side. At some point of time, the coin would flip and the unpleasant one will come. We have to look at the unpleasant side as well. If we can investigate like this in our mind, the pleasant and the unpleasant feelings as it arises, then we know this coin is of no great use. Ultimately, it will lead to dissatisfaction. It would not lead to satisfaction. But then we do not understand. That's why we are stuck with that coin. We are trapped in our own mind. Why are you trapped in the prison of our mind? Because this prison has, like if there is a prison, a big prison, and then you stay inside the prison, and then the prison you get sometimes nice food or some entertainment or some other things, some sensory pleasant experiences. Those times it doesn't appear this is a prison. I am inside a prison. I am imprisoned. This does not appear. Mind is so much stuck with this adhesive of craving, with these pleasant experiences, it doesn't appear. So, present, though we are in prison, but we don't feel like we don't think we are in prison. Later on, when these entertainments are over, and then the prison guards or security or whatever, they put some restrictions or they give some punishments, and they torture the inmates of the prison. Then they say, oh, this is prison is not good, we should get out of the prison. And then another next day, they give some good food or some sensory good pleasant experiences. Then prison inmates forget. They say, no, no, okay, okay, I will stay in the prison. That is exactly the state of the mind of untrained asutva putujano, untrained person who has not trained their minds, one who is a worldly person. That is exactly the state of the mind of an untrained person, untrained worldly person. They experience happiness and suffering, and they think it is okay. When they experience suffering, they say, we wish to get out of this. But they don't understand this so called happiness is not really the one, not really the one leading to cessation of suffering. That's why, very clearly, Lord Buddha said, if you really wish to pursue the true spiritual practice, at the beginning of the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, he said, Ubho ante anupagamma. Don't go to these two extremes. Don't go to the extreme of disliking and revulsion or dissatisfaction and all this. Don't go to the extreme of liking and seeking pleasant experiences. Don't go to these two extremes. If you go to these two extremes, you will not be able to come out of your suffering. And this is, as you can see, this is fundamentally different from the general worldview. General worldview is you seek pleasant experiences, and whatever you don't like, you push it away. Simple. But then it is not like this. The middle path is not like this. Path leading to the cessation is not like this. It cannot be like this. Because it keeps on changing, liking to disliking, disliking to liking. Suffering cannot end like this. One has to let go of these two things, knowing correctly their true nature. Otherwise, we are like these prisoners. When we get good food, when we get good entertainment, the prisoners say the jail is not so bad. And then when they get beaten later on, they just say jail is bad. And then they again forget and they say jail is not so bad. And then again, next day they say jail is bad. That's the mind of the beings. The prison of our own hearts, not the prison. This prison is much stronger because this is created by us. This is created by our ignorance and craving. So this prison is much stronger than the prison outside. That one easy to break. This one we don't even want to break. That is the problem. That is the problem. But then, if you practice dana, shila, bhavana, or shila, samadhi, panya, if you practice, what does it mean? This Majjhima Patipada, Eightfold Path. What does it mean? This is the skill to break and come out of the prison. The training to break the prison and come out of it. You don't know how to break through the prison and come out of it and so you suffer. But then when you practice this Eightfold Path, it is like you're acquiring the skill to break through this prison. When you practice goodness, sila, good behavior, which is good for you, good for others, Panchashila or Attashila or any other sila, or metta, karunas, develop goodness, virtue. You are trying to break through the prison of bad habits. This is fundamental because these bad habits had become not just bad habits, these bad habits have now become, after many lives, obsessive, compulsive bad habits. You say no obsessive compulsive disorder. But these obsessive compulsive bad habits are within us. Do you see that? Do you see it correctly? Do you investigate it thoroughly? If we investigate this, then we can say we are little wise people. If we do not, then no matter what people do, they become big people, successful people, they become doctors or scientists or CEOs or big engineers or architects or lawyers or whatever it is. Doesn't matter. Politicians or ministers or whatever it is, they're still trapped in their own prison because they do not know how to investigate this. They have not trained themselves to break through this prison. Now, as I am saying that, now if you practice the sila, you are learning to break the most gross, most the first barrier basically of this obsessive compulsive bad conduct. Then you have some level of peace when you can practice, some level of happiness because of the cultivation of sila. If you don't have the cultivation of sila, then the mind hasn't gained any level of coolness. But if you have cultivated some level of good conduct, then it has some coolness. When you experience this, then you should also contemplate further. So, this is just the first barrier broken. First barrier or the first wall of the prison broken, but there are many more left. Or partially broken, maybe not fully broken, partially broken. But when we break this and go to the next, then at least you are out of at least one of the walls of the prison for some time at least. Some moments, some days, some hours, whatever it is. So there also one should investigate internally. This is what it means to be out of the prison, at least even for a temporary moment. This is what it feels like out of the prison, not inside the prison. When we practice samadhi, when we develop our mind, when we practice, when we do the bhavana, develop our mind, develop all the mental factors, wholesome mental factors together, develop samadhi, develop wisdom, we can break most of these barriers. When we develop the highest wisdom, we can break all the barriers. But even before that, say when you practice the sila and then practice the samadhi, your mind becomes peaceful. People like, I see a lot of people, when they feel peaceful, they say, oh, it is so peaceful after practicing meditation. But they do not investigate at that level. They do not thoroughly investigate. Why does this peacefulness arise? Because of letting go of or breaking through some of these prison walls of gross defilements, gross liking and disliking. That's why this peacefulness arises. So they should again further investigate. This is like going and breaking quite a few walls and going farther away from the prison. This is what it feels like to be out of the prison even for some time. So they can gain confidence about the path, about their practice. Oh, this is the right way I'm going. But then, if there is no such investigation, people are so much, again, they practice meditation and then they become peaceful and then they get stuck with that peacefulness. But they do not understand the peacefulness as it really is, why it arises, and how they can strengthen it further. They do not really understand. They either stuck with that peacefulness, oh, that was good experience. I want to get that experience. They are stuck with that craving, that again sticky adhesive of craving, or they are stuck with I, another very dangerous thing. Prison guard, I. They generate the view, I am the one who is an excellent meditator. I meditate rightly. I can sit for hours together. I sit without moving. That is very big prison guard. They do not understand. So when they develop like this, then their samadhi cannot reach further. It is not freeing, it is not liberating, it is binding then. It puts prison chains. Instead of that, they should rather contemplate, oh, this I is ego, a view of self, not connected with wisdom. It must be connected with some ignorance in the mind. I don't know exactly what level of ignorance, but there must be some ignorance involved here. If I do not reduce this stops, this blocks my further progress. But people do not investigate like this, or people do not investigate the why the peacefulness arises. Then you are temporarily out of prison, and then prison guards, the defilements come and catch you from outside and put you back again. First they beat you because you are under their control, and then they give you something nice, objects of your craving, objects of your liking, and then you forget, oh, again I'm in the prison. Then you forget, though you are in the prison again inside. But then when you first time at least break through, and if you are wise enough, then you remember, oh, at some point of time I broke through this prison of my heart. At least for some time, that was better than this. If we have that level of wisdom, then if we have that level of wisdom, then we may make further effort to break through. But if we forget quickly, if our obsessive compulsive craving is too strong, then we wouldn't have that level of wisdom. We would keep on enjoying the prison and suffer in the prison again. But there are some people a little wiser, they have developed their minds life after life. So what they do is when they break through the prison, even for a temporary time, they are mindful of that now they have broken through. Maybe they will soon be caught and put in the prison by the defilements. However, they will remember that it is better to be out of this because there is a higher level of freedom in this. And when we have this higher level of freedom, we have higher level of happiness compared to the ones we enjoyed in the prison. They are mindful of this. They investigate like this. So when they are put back in the prison, they would remember this. They may stay in prison, but they will always make an effort to come out of it. This is how we investigate our mind, our practice. When we do like this, then we can gain right view. Samadhi. Samadhi is what? Dukkha jnanam, understanding the noble truth of suffering. Suffering is there, understanding the cause, understanding the cessation, understanding the path. This is the right view, no? That's what it is explained in the Samadhi Sutta by Most Venerable Sariputta, chief disciple of Lord Buddha. That this is how the Samadhi, Dukkha jnanam, Dukkha samudaya jnanam, knowing the noble truth of suffering, the cause, the ending, and the path. So then we can develop this right view. There is suffering in the prison. There is non-suffering outside the prison. I say non-suffering. But then world seeks not non-suffering. World seeks happiness. But you must understand, non-suffering is the greatest happiness. As I said, happiness comes, it is like trying to catch the snake from the side of the tail unmindfully. It doesn't last for long. This people do not understand. So they cannot develop their samadhi. They do not see the dukkha as dukkha correctly, suffering as suffering correctly. If they do not see the suffering, people say, we don't want suffering, we don't want suffering. Yes, nobody wants suffering. But if you don't have suffering, how will you know why does it arise? If you do not know how does it arise, how will you end this? Simple. Suffering is not necessarily bad. Suffering is not necessarily bad. If we have mindfulness and wisdom, it is not necessarily bad. When you suffer, you tell yourself, are you suffering? Am I suffering today? Am I suffering now? Is there a cause? Am I stuck with something? Is there something on which I'm stuck? I can't let my mind out of this. I cannot pull my mind out of this. I cannot let it be peaceful. I cannot let it cool down. Is there something? Is there a cause? Why am I like this? Do you investigate? You don't. But if you do, then you will understand there's a cause. And then, because our craving, our ignorance is strong, we forget it. But then when we remember first time, and then second time, again we investigate, and third time, we strengthen this wisdom. Then later on we know much better. Whenever our mind tries to stick to something, we know this is that stickiness, this is that sticky adhesive. The Supreme Buddha has called this one the craving, cause of my suffering. We know, oh, this is going to stick here, or this is sticking here. We don't need to stick. It is not necessary to stick, because then I would get into suffering. And now what I seek is non-suffering, because that is the highest happiness. When you don't suffer at all, you have happiness, no? When there is no suffering, there is happiness. But that happiness is not of the world, not of the general worldly type of happiness. It is not through the enjoyment of our senses or just enjoyment of any of these things, mental or material phenomena. It is a happiness because now you are fully out of the prison. You look back and see so many beings trapped inside the prison, being tortured by the prison guards, and now you are out there. You don't have to go back there again. Now I would be free. I am free now. This is the highest happiness. Then your heart would be at ease. Oh, then for long have I suffered inside this. For long have I been tortured here. And I couldn't come out. But now I have come out. Now it feels good. It feels light. I don't have to go back there. The guards wouldn't be able to come and catch me and torture me, put me back in the prison again. This is the kind of happiness that Lord Buddha is referring to. This is higher happiness. This is happiness that comes out of vimukti, liberation. So when we practice the Eightfold Path, we should start with the first line, first line where he says, don't go to these two extremes. These two extremes will not end your suffering. Very beginning only he said, don't go to these extremes. If you go to these extremes, your suffering will not end. Don't go there. From there only we have to keep on developing our practice and our samadhi till the final attainment of Nibbana. So this is what we give to you for your contemplation and practice. And we share all these merits with all beings. May all living beings share these merits and be free from all suffering. Sukhino bhavantu. So we would conclude here today's Sunday morning discourse. You have any announcement, Bajira? You have any announcement? Okay, we'll receive after this. We'll receive. Who? Kaun laya? Okay, they have come. Okay. Okay. लिसन टू आप लोग दोनों जाके थोड़ा रिसीव करना ओ उसका इसको खोलो विल गिव द ब्लेसिंग्स आफ्टर द offering. बाद में ब्लेसिंग के बाद तो आप लोग आएंगे उनका जीवन में ले आई मंदिर खाते दे we'll give the blessings. You just sit for 2 minutes. Sabedyo vivajjanto sabarogo vinasato mate bhavatu antarayo sukhilayo bhava avivadana siddhisani chamona pachayino chataro dhamma vardhanti ayuvano Kamvalam Ayurarogya Sampati Sarva Sampati Mevacha Aronimana Sampati Emenade Amin Chatori Sadhu Sadhu Dr. Rujuta has come. Oh, okay. Then we'll tie the thread. No? Today is your birthday. Okay, just wait. We'll, you can tie and we'll give the blessings. Sabbe buddha balapatta pache kananchayam balan arhantanancha tejena rathang vandami sapaso sabbe dhamma balapatta riyasachananchayam balan Dhamma Chaka Sadene Nara Vandami Tapaso Sabe Sangha Valapata Vimotaranchayam Vadam Dasana Sadene Nara Vandami Tapaso Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. We wish Dr. Rujuta and all your family members very happy and joyful birthday, and may you also keep prospering in your field and your material world, as well as may you also develop the inner world of Dhamma and attain to the supreme bliss of Nepal. Thank you. Thank you. So we will conclude here. Anything else, Vajra? Nothing. We will conclude with the metta chanting. Sukhe bhave agni doko aham aham vina edasha me sukhe honto machata jave vino emani gamma ke tami Satahanto sukhi sana tato parancharajesu chakramale sujantanu sadhu sadhu sadhu. At 12:30, there will be Kannada discourse by Ananda Banteji. Presently, Ananda Banteji is in Odisha, so he will give discourse online from there itself. So I request all of you to have lunch and then join at 12:30. You can sit here and watch, and it will be Ananda Banteji will be joining online and give the